Behind Hollywood's glamorous image lies a world of lies, affairs, and scandals the public was never supposed to see. But eventually, every secret comes out. From a kiss cam moment that destroyed relationships and careers in seconds, to a pop superstar wanting to name his child after the woman he secretly had an affair with. To blackmail plots worth millions of dollars. These are the 20 shocking celebrity cheating scandals. Number 20, Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, and Angelina Jolie. A movie about married assassins ended a real marriage, and the woman who survived it once said she found the whole thing karmic. Pitt and Aniston were Hollywood's quiet certainty from 2000 to 2004, the couple every magazine printed when it needed a guaranteed sale. Then Pitt walked onto the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, opposite Angelina Jolie, playing a husband falling for the wrong woman. Crew members later said the movie was just catching up to what had already started between takes. The split was announced in January 2005. Within weeks, paparazzi found Pitt building sandcastles on a Kenyan beach, with Jolie's adopted son, Maddox, looking like a father who'd been there from the start. The public picked teams instantly. Jolie poured salt into it during a 2006 magazine interview, saying she couldn't wait to show her kids Mr. and Mrs. Smith because that was where mommy and daddy fell in love. Aniston's response was very simple in Vanity Fair. Really uncool. The internet has not let it go since. Brangelina ran the tabloid economy for a decade, produced 6 children, and finally cracked in September 2016 after an incident on a private jet. Jolie filed for divorce. Number 19, Andy Byron and Kristen Kitt. A jumbotron at a Coldplay show vaporized a tech CEO faster than the Encore. July 16, 2025, TD Garden in Boston, The Kiss. Cam swung through the crowd during Yellow and locked onto a man with his arms wrapped around a woman who clearly was not his wife. The man was 43-year-old Andy Byron, chief executive of Astronomer, an enterprise software company valued at nearly $800 million. The woman folded into him was Kristen Kitt, the Astronomer's 31-year-old head of human resources. While on camera, Byron ducked, and Kitt covered her face with both palms. Chris Martin watched from the stage and said into the microphone that they were either having an affair or they were just very shy. 60,000 people laughed. By morning, the video had 10 million views. Byron's wife Megan reportedly found out when her sister sent it with a single message asking if that was Andy. The Astronomer board placed him on leave that night. He resigned 72 hours after the chorus ended. 20 years of climbing in software gone in the runtime of one Coldplay song. Kitt was terminated weeks later and sued Astronomer for wrongful dismissal, arguing the company had no written policy banning consensual relationships. The lawsuit is still moving through the courts. Number 18, Tiger Woods and Elin Nordegren. A fire hydrant outside a Florida driveway exposed the most carefully managed athlete on earth. November 27, 2009. Tiger Woods was the cleanest brand in sports, a billion-dollar empire built on the idea that he did not make mistakes. At 2 in the morning, his Cadillac Escalade reversed out of his Isleworth driveway, struck a fire hydrant, and crashed into a tree. His wife, Elin Nordegren, was reportedly standing nearby with a golf club and a broken rear window. The official explanation was that she had smashed the glass to rescue him. No one believed it. The National Enquirer had run a story days earlier, alleging an affair with a New York nightclub manager named Rachel Uchitel. The pieces snapped together overnight. What followed was a procession. Cocktail waitresses, adult film performers, restaurant hostesses, and the woman who cut his hair. Within 3 weeks, 14 women had come forward. The final tally climbed past 100. Voicemails leaked. Sponsors fled. Accenture, Gatorade, AT&T, and Gillette dropped him within months at an estimated cost of north of $20 million in endorsements alone. Nordegren walked away with a settlement reported at $100 million and full custody of their 2 children. Number 17, Adam Levine and Behati Prinsloo. Adam Levine asked another woman if he could name his unborn child after her. His wife was the one carrying the child. September 2022. A model named Sumner Stroh posted a TikTok with no music, no edits, just a tired face and a phone full of screenshots. She said she'd been sleeping with the Maroon 5 frontman for about a year, and that he had recently sent her a direct message asking if he could name his upcoming baby Sumner. Levine had been married to Victoria's Secret model Behati Prinsloo since 2014. Prinsloo was several months pregnant when the TikTok went up. The screenshots crossed 20 million views in a day. Within 48 hours, 4 other women posted their own. The messages were uniformly bad, the kind of texts that read like a parody of what a rock star is supposed to write. Levine's statement said he had crossed a line and used poor judgment, but denied any physical affair, a denial that convinced no one. Prinsloo gave birth in January 2023 and did not name the baby Sumner. She never publicly addressed the messages. Levine's true love knuckle tattoo, dedicated to his wife, became one of the most photographed pieces of regret on the internet. Number 16. Jesse James and Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock had taken Best Actress for The Blind Side in March 2010, thanking her husband Jesse James from the stage and calling him the man who had her back. 11 days later, In Touch Weekly published an interview with a tattoo model named Michelle McGee, describing an 11-month affair with James. McGee had been paid $30,000. By her account, the affair had run straight through the filming of the role that won Bullock the award. McGee was just the opener. 3 more women came forward inside 2 weeks, each describing the same chopper shop in Long Beach, the same airport hotel, the same late-night calls timed to Bullock's location shoots. James, the bearded reality television mechanic from Monster Garage, was suddenly a serial cheater on every checkout aisle in America. Bullock canceled her London premiere, pulled out of the BAFTA after parties, and disappeared. She filed for divorce in Austin and surfaced months later on the cover of People with the Detail That Turned the Story Tragic. She had quietly been adopting a baby boy named Louis from New Orleans, a process the couple had begun together. Instead of introducing him as their son, she introduced him as hers. The Oscar sat on a shelf. The marriage was already gone. Number 15. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mariah Shriver. Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor on a family values platform. His secret son was already 6 years old. Mildred Byna had worked in the Brentwood home for years when she gave birth to a boy named Joseph in October 1997. Maria Shriver delivered Christopher 5 days later. Joseph grew up inside the same 12,000 square foot house, attending staff parties, playing alongside the legitimate Schwarzenegger children, riding to school in the same orbit. The resemblance got harder to dismiss with adolescence. Same jaw, same smile, same lats. Shriver started asking questions when Joseph turned 14. Schwarzenegger sat on the secret through his entire governorship of California, paying Byna's mortgage and funding Joseph's education while playing devoted father at state dinners. The confrontation came in 2011 during a couple's therapy session. Shriver asked directly. He admitted everything. The damage was unusual because of who Shriver was. Niece of John F. Kennedy, NBC news anchor, daughter of America's most carefully tended political dynasty. Her identity was built on marrying well and upholding the family brand. Number 14. Kevin Hart and Eniko Parrish. A hidden camera in a Las Vegas suite cost an old friend more than the blackmail ever could have paid. September 2017. Kevin Hart had spent a night at a club, ended up in a hotel room with an actress and model named Montia Sabog, and somewhere in the suite, a camera was running. He didn't know it. The man who knew it was Jonathan Todd Jackson, a longtime friend from Hart's social circle, who prosecutors later alleged had arranged the recording and was now demanding several $1 million to bury it. Hart's wife, Eniko Parrish, was 8 months pregnant with their first child. The timing was the leverage. Hart called the FBI and then did something almost no celebrity in his position has ever done. Before the blackmailer could release a single frame, Hart posted a quiet Instagram video, apologizing directly to his wife and his unborn son, saying he had put himself in an environment where only bad things could happen. Jackson was arrested for extortion. The charges were eventually reduced over evidentiary issues, but his standing in Hart's world was finished. Eniko stayed. Their son Kenzo was born that November. She later said in an interview that she had already known about the cheating before the extortion attempt, that they had been working through it privately, and that the public version had simply ripped the bandage off. The friendship with Jackson did not survive. Number 13. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. Justin Timberlake spent 20 years rebuilding his image as a family man. One balcony in New Orleans took it apart in a single night. November 2019. Timberlake was in Louisiana, shooting Palmer with co-star Alicia Wainwright. Paparazzi found them outside the Absinthe House, sitting on a balcony together, fingers laced, her hand resting on his thigh. He looked drunk. His wedding ring was missing. He had been married to Jessica Biel since 2012, and they had a 4-year-old son. The photos went up the next morning, and nobody needed help reading them. Britney Spears fans treated it as cosmic justice arriving 20 years late. Timberlake had famously cheated on Spears during their 3-year relationship, and then built part of his solo career on a music video that cast a Britney lookalike as the villain. He'd let the world believe she was the unstable one for 2 decades. Then, in 2023, Spears confirmed in her memoir, The Woman in Me, that he had cheated on her repeatedly and that he had pressured her into an abortion she didn't want. The whispers from 2002 were now sworn statements. Timberlake's apology to Biel after the New Orleans photos blamed alcohol and what he called a strong lapse in judgment. Although the marriage survived, the carefully built image of the family man never quite did. Number 12. Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson. Helena Bonham Carter was hired to play a corpse stitched back to life. By the end of the shoot, Emma Thompson's marriage was the thing in pieces. Kenneth Branagh and Thompson had been married since 1989. He was directing, she was acting. Together, they were the most decorated young couple in British theater, the names every critic reached for when reviewing serious work, the heirs everyone kept comparing to Olivier and Lee. Then came Frankenstein. Branagh directed himself as Victor in 1994 and cast Bonham Carter as his bride on screen. Thompson was not on set. She was in London, working on her own projects, while her husband and his co-star spent months together in costume. The affair started during filming. The British press picked up on it before the credits had been cut. Thompson handled it the way she handled most things, by writing. She won the Oscar for Sense and Sensibility while quietly putting herself back together, later describing the period as feeling like a smash dinner service nobody could glue back into shape. Branagh and Bonham Carter dated for 5 years before splitting. Thompson married Greg Wise, the actor who had stayed close to her through the divorce, and is still married to him today. Number 11. Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore's 6th wedding anniversary was September 24, 2011. He spent it in a hot tub in San Diego with a stranger. Moore was 3,000 miles away in New York, doing press for a film. Kutcher was in San Diego at a hotel pool party where a 21-year-old named Sarah Leal had wandered up. Leal sold her account to Us Weekly for a reported $15,000. Bowling alley first, bottle service in a suite second, hot tub with no clothes third, his bed last. The anniversary detail was not a coincidence. It was the whole reason the story sold. Moore's 2019 memoir, Inside Out, filled in the rest. The Leal night had not been a beginning. It had been a closing chapter. Kutcher had been pulling away for months, lying about his location, pushing for an open arrangement on terms that left Moore feeling used. The 15-year age gap that had once been celebrated as proof that love conquers all became ammunition for everyone with an opinion. Moore had been the highest-paid actress in Hollywood when they met. She had also been clean for years. The marriage and the sobriety collapsed on roughly the same timeline, a connection she made plainly in the book. Number 10. Jay-Z and Beyonce. 3 minutes of silent elevator footage rearranged the most powerful marriage in music. May 5th, 2014. The Met Gala had just ended. A security camera at the Standard Hotel caught Beyonce's younger sister, Solange Knowles, in a gold gown, throwing kicks and punches at Jay-Z while a bodyguard pinned her arms. Beyonce stood against the back wall and did not move. The clip ran 3 minutes and 33 seconds. TMZ paid $250,000 for it, and the price was a bargain. Whatever had triggered Solange explained nothing on screen. The Knowles family released a statement so vague it became a meme. 2 years later, Beyonce released Lemonade, an entire visual album about a woman betrayed and the slow process of figuring out who. Tracks named Sorry, Hold Up, and Don't Hurt Yourself cataloged infidelity in such specific detail that fans went hunting for the other woman within an hour. The phrase Becky with the good hair sent the Bayhive to designer Rachel Roy's Instagram, where a deleted post about good hair was treated as a confession. Roy was harassed for months. In 2017, Jay-Z released his own album, 444, where he openly admitted to cheating and to nearly destroying his family. Number 9. Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian. Some men cheat. Tristan Thompson built a hobby. April 2018. Khloe was 2 days from her due date in Cleveland when TMZ posted security footage of Thompson at a Manhattan hookah lounge with another woman. More videos surfaced within hours from Washington and Miami, going back months. Kim Kardashian had to deliver the news to her pregnant sister. Khloe's daughter, True, was born 48 hours later with Thompson in the delivery room because there was nowhere else for him to go. She forgave him. The forgiveness lasted 10 months. In February 2019, Thompson hooked up with Jordyn Woods, Kylie Jenner's best friend, at a house party in Los Angeles. Woods had lived in Kylie's guest house, attended every birthday, and held the children. The fallout cost her every brand deal she had. Thompson stayed in the family orbit only because of True. By 2021, while publicly trying to win Khloe back, he was sleeping with a personal trainer named Marilee Nichols. She got pregnant. He demanded a paternity test, offered her $75,000 to disappear, and lost on both counts. The DNA confirmed the son. Number 8. Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis. April 2022, Las Vegas. Olivia Wilde was on stage at CinemaCon, presenting Don't Worry Darling to 4,000 industry insiders. She had directed the film. She had also reportedly fallen for her co-star Harry Styles on set, 10 years her junior. A process server slipped through the venue's security with an envelope marked personal and confidential, and placed it directly into her hands while she stood at the podium. She opened it on stage. The papers were custody documents from her ex-partner, Jason Sudeikis. Sudeikis publicly claimed he had no idea the service would happen at the event. Hollywood did not believe him. The split had been announced in November 2020 as amicable. That story cracked when paparazzi photos showed Wilde holding hands with Styles in January 2021. Wilde's position was that she and Sudeikis had been over for months. Their former nanny, in a long interview with the Daily Mail, told a different story. Sudeikis had discovered the affair through an Apple Watch notification and once threw himself under Wilde's car to stop her from delivering a homemade salad to Styles. Wilde and Sudeikis issued a rare joint denial. The salad detail was already a meme by lunchtime. Number 7. Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. The young woman hired to help with the Hawke-Thurman baby helped end the Hawke-Thurman marriage instead. Ryan Shaw-Hughes started working in the family's Manhattan home in 2002, shortly after the birth of Hawke and Thurman's second child, Levine. By the summer of 2003, the marriage was over and Hawke had moved out. The press connected the dots before either party confirmed anything. Hawke insisted at the time that no physical affair had occurred during the marriage. He then sat for an interview with a British magazine and argued that human beings are not designed for monogamy and that society overreacts to the realities of long-term love. It was the worst possible thing to say in the worst possible week. Thurman, who had been the face of Pulp Fiction and was at that moment in the middle of filming Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill, said almost nothing publicly. She channeled it into the work and into raising the children. Hawke married Shaw-Hughes in 2008, 3 months after his divorce was finalized. Number 6. Billy Bob Thornton and Laura Dern. Laura Dern flew home from a film shoot to find out her fiancé had married someone else on cable television. Dern had been with Billy Bob Thornton for 3 years, wearing his ring, planning a wedding, building a Los Angeles life. In May 1999, she was on location for a movie when the entertainment news cycle cut to footage of Thornton walking out of a Vegas chapel with Angelina Jolie, matching tattoos, vials of each other's blood on chains around their necks. Dern's quote in Vanity Fair became one of the most circulated breakup lines of the decade. She left to do a movie, and while she was away, her boyfriend got married, and she never heard from him again. The marriage imploded in 2 years. Thornton later said he had felt like a guest in a museum next to a woman too refined for him. Dern never publicly attacked either of them, and the dignity of her silence made the betrayal sit heavier on Thornton than any tabloid quote ever could have. Number 5. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. The nanny posed for Instagram photos wearing Tom Brady's 4 Super Bowl rings. None of them belonged to her. July 2015. Christine Uzunian was 28. The photos showed her on Ben Affleck's private jet to Las Vegas, posing with Brady's championship hardware, looking less like an employee and more like a girlfriend on holiday. Jennifer Garner was in the Bahamas with their 3 children, on the same trip where she had reportedly already fired Uzunian after suspecting an affair. Days after the photos ran, Affleck and Garner announced their separation. Uzunian then hired a crisis publicist and posted Instagram pictures of her new $43,000 Lexus, captioned with a pun about her drop top. Subtlety was not the brand. The nanny was the headline. She was not the actual problem. Affleck's gambling had spiraled for years. He had been banned from the Hard Rock for counting cards and was reportedly losing millions in private poker games. His drinking, which he had wrestled with since his 20s, was getting worse. The marriage had been failing in slow motion long before Uzunian walked in. Garner separated herself from every other wife on this list with the response: no public attacks, seamless co-parenting. In 2018, when Affleck checked into rehab, she drove him there herself, partly so the children could see their father trying. Number 4. Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. A photographer parked off Mulholland Drive with a long lens torched 2 relationships and the most marketable franchise of its time. July 2012, Kristen Stewart was 22 and the highest paid actress in the world, thanks to Twilight. The paparazzo had been tracking her Mini Cooper for days. He found it tucked behind a guardrail near the Hollywood Hills, and through the lens, he watched Stewart in a long, passionate exchange with her 41-year-old director, Rupert Sanders, kissing in the car, against the car, hands in his hair. The photos went to tabloids within 72 hours. Sanders was married to model Liberty Ross, who had played Stewart's mother in Snow White and The Huntsman, the very film they had just finished together. Robert Pattinson moved out of their Los Feliz home that night. The Twilight fanbase did not handle it well, and death threats poured into Stewart's accounts for weeks. Stewart issued a public apology, calling Pattinson the person she loved most and the person she had hurt most. They reconciled briefly for the Breaking Dawn press tour, but the reunion was a contractual performance. Both couples ended permanently. Sanders has not directed a major studio film since. Number 3. Hugh Grant and Elizabeth Hurley. Hugh Grant traded a multi-million-dollar romantic comedy career for $60 on Sunset Boulevard, June 27, 1995. Grant was the new face of British charm, fresh off 4 weddings and a funeral. LAPD officers stopped his white BMW on Sunset and found him with a sex worker named Divine Brown. The mugshot, Grant disheveled and visibly mortified, became more famous than any movie poster he ever sat for. Elizabeth Hurley was at home in their London flat. Brown sold her story for a reported $150,000 and bought her family a house with the proceeds. Hurley's response stunned everyone. She did not leave. She walked the carpet beside Grant at his next premiere and held the line publicly through the whole apology tour, while friends quietly noted she had banished him to the spare room for months. His Letterman appearance, where he simply said he had done a bad thing, became a template for celebrity contrition that publicists studied for the next decade. The romance ended in 2000. The bond did not. Grant is the godfather to Hurley's son, Damien. Number 2. Jude Law and Sienna Miller. The Christmas Day proposal made the front page in December. The Nanny made the front page in July. Daisy Wright had been hired to look after Jude Law's children from his previous marriage to Sadie Frost. In July 2005, she walked into the Sunday Mirror with a $15,000 offer and a confession. She and Law had been involved for a month. The encounters had taken place in Law's bed, sometimes with his children sleeping down the hall. The detail that did the most damage was a quote Wright attributed to him, that the relationship with Miller was just for publicity. Miller learned about it from her own publicist the night before publication. She later said she felt like her insides had been replaced with concrete. Law issued a statement that read like it had been drafted by attorneys. They tried reconciliation. Trust did not return. They split for good in 2006. The twist landed 2 years later. Miller was photographed topless on a yacht with Balthazar Getty, a married actor whose wife and 4 children were back in Los Angeles. The woman the tabloids had spent 2 years calling the wronged fiancé was now the other woman. Number 1. Shania Twain and Robert Mutt Lange. Shania Twain called her best friend in tears about a husband she suspected of cheating. The best friend was the affair, Marie-Anne Thibault was Twain's assistant and her closest confidant, the woman she trusted with her schedule, her home, and her secrets. Through 2007 and into 2008, Thibault played the role flawlessly, reassuring Twain that producer husband Mutt Lange would never betray her. She knew exactly how to deliver those reassurances. The truth came out through phone records and credit card statements. Hundreds of calls between Lange and Thibault. Hotel charges that did not match Lange's tour itinerary. When Twain confronted him, he simply admitted it and refused to stop. The ending sounds like fiction. Twain found unexpected friendship with Frederick Thibault, Marie-Anne's abandoned husband, the only other person in the world who understood the specific shape of the betrayal. The friendship became a relationship. They married in 2011. Don't miss the videos on screen now. They're just as interesting. Catch you in the next one.